Hi, my name is Oenjula, and in today's video, I'd like to share with you the 5 things I wish I had known before going to JB Roy Government Ayurvedic Hospital in Calcutta, West Bengal for Panchakarma treatment. This is my second round for skin disease called psoriasis, and this treatment can be used and is used for many other conditions. So if you're someone who's interested in Ayurvedic treatments and non-invasive surgeries and so on, and a holistic approach to healing, then I highly recommend checking out your nearest Ayurvedic doctor. So number one thing that I would say that I wish I had known was the difference between real hunger and emotional hunger. So the first time around, on the first day, I was given 40 ml of ghee, and then we were told that until you digest the ghee and you feel hungry, don't eat. That is the instruction. So on first day, I wasn't quite paying attention to it, and I was like, it's lunchtime, and they serve lunch at 12, which is exactly the time when I have lunch. And I was like, okay, let's eat before the food gets cold. And then the second day around, I had the food, and then I noticed that I had some of the symptoms that which are aligned with me not having digested the food. And we are told that this is what you will feel, and this is what you will these are the symptoms of you not having digested food, so pay attention to that. And I noticed that after eating my food, so basically I was not correct in ascertaining whether I had digested the food or not. So this is something that happened last time, and this time because I've been fasting on Ekadashis for a year now, and I then switched to upgraded to dry fasting just before I went for this treatment again. I had kind of understood the difference between real hunger and emotional hunger, because when I would be fasting, I would feel hungry, I would have water. This time I wasn't having water or food for 36 hours, and then I realized, like, so basically I can survive without food for 36 hours. So why is it that here, when I'm having ghee, which is a very filling and high high fat, high protein, I guess high fat lipids, then why is it that I would feel hungry within like less than 12 hours? It makes no sense, right? So I started paying attention to that, and then of course the data, because last time around there was another girl who was undergoing this ghee treatment, and she was very particular about it. She would be like doing the tasks that we are asked to do in order to digest the ghee. I'll tell you about the tasks in a bit. She would be keeping on until like 9 in the night. I would have finished my dinner by then, and I was like, why is she going on? And because I did finish digesting it. It's only now I realize in hindsight that I was not paying as much attention. I was not able to distinguish between real and emotional hunger. And now, because of fasting and experience and all the data that I have gathered from speaking to different people, and especially that girl, I understand that this ghee is not to be digested that easily. And so most people are used to having food because they want to distract themselves from certain emotions, or they are used to having food at a certain time. That was me. Then people don't really see if they're genuinely physically hungry. And the beauty of this treatment is that when you are able to finally have your first meal in a day after digesting the food, and the condition is that only eat if you are hungry, and if you're not hungry, then you can go to sleep without eating. So you wouldn't have had any food throughout the day, and that's okay. The doctors would rather that you don't eat than eat, because that's the whole point, that don't overburden your body. So so when you finally have that meal, when you are hungry, and there were days when I didn't eat meals because I hadn't digested by 11 in the night. So the days when I digested it, that food tasted so nice. And that's how you also know when you're genuinely hungry, that the food, no matter what it was. There was a day when I had finished what was for dinner, then I was just having the steamed rice from morning, from lunch, because I'd finished my dinner, I was still hungry. And that steamed rice without anything was tasting so good. And I think that's another way of knowing when you're genuinely hungry. The vegetables they had served me in the afternoon had gone bad, so I wasn't eating that. The steamed rice was fine, so I was just eating that. It tasted so good. So that's another way that you're genuinely hungry, when that everything tastes good. So that's number one, and I think that's very important, because the whole treatment rests on this foundation that you should be increasing your digestive power, and so you can't increase that if you're overburdening that with food when you've not digested the ghee. So that's number one. And the second one is that, like I mentioned, the tasks that we are asked to do in order to digest the ghee is walking and drinking warm water. Now, walking I like, drinking warm water I hate, but anyway, I did it. And the first day, this time around, I was taking longer than usual, and that worried me. So, first day I did like around 11 kilometers. The second day, I noticed that, the smaller dosage is taking so long. So, walk more. I started doing 13, then 15 kilometers per day. And then the fourth day, none of that worked. So, I increased the water as well as the walking. And then finally, the doctor said that you don't need to walk so much. He told me, I asked him how much. He said 6 to 7. And my mom also said don't drink so much water in the first place because you are overworking your body. By not giving your body rest, you are making it even more difficult for you to digest the ghee. Your body needs rest to digest. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And once I followed that advice, from the 5th day onwards, things got better. Even like the higher dosages, I digested it faster than the smaller dosages of ghee. So I think that advice really worked. And number three is, I know this is something that when people like give that advice to me, I'm like, it's so easier said than done. But the thing is not stressing over outcomes and how long you're taking to digest and all those things. So I was stressing a lot in the first 4 days because I was comparing it to the first time around when things were not taking so long. I was having 2 meals in the beginning. This time from day 1 itself, I was just having 1 meal because I was not getting done until like 10 in the night, and that too I was like not very hungry. I was like I could do without eating, that kind of a thing. So I would say stressing obviously makes things worse and doesn't help you digest. So not stressing over the outcomes. What happens, I noticed this last time around and even this time, like there was a girl who was like the girl I was talking about, who was very diligent in following, making sure that she had digested. She and then the other girl, this friend who I met last time, and she also, we got admitted on the same day this time. We have this thing that in our minds that the more we have ghee, the better it is, because it means our digestion power is going up. And so it's in our minds, we kind of feel like it's like a competition. I feel, oh, you had so much, oh, the doctor increased it so much. So I think it's like an unsaid competition where people feel like, I'm doing better in the treatment. But everybody is different. Everybody literally is different. And that's what the doctor said. Just because last time you had these symptoms doesn't mean you have them the same, the second time around. So don't worry about it because bodies change. And I think that's the most important thing I learned this time around, that the same treatment, my body reacted differently, and this time reacted differently. Seasons have changed, my body has changed, 6 months have passed, so many things could have happened. So don't become your doctor, let the doctors do your job. That's what the doctors were trying to insinuate, and so did my mom. And I think that's very, very, very important, not stressing over things like because you will be asked to give a lot of measurements. At least that's what happened here. You will be asked to self-report. So what happens, people often end up comparing those numbers, and I think that's totally irrelevant because every body is different. And then I was on I missed the third point, but so this was the fourth point, not stressing over the self-reports or the outcomes. Number 3, what I wanted to say was not overdoing, like I was talking about, not overdoing walking or drinking water, also not overdoing entertainment. So just because you're in a hospital and you have time doesn't mean that you are chatting, gossiping on the phone or with your co-patients, like I was doing, and or watching a lot of spending a lot of time on your tablet or your mobile phone or laptop, whatever. You get the point, right? Just because like you can't overdo anything, be it the exertion or be it the entertainment. So the doctor assumed that since we are friends and we are taking so long to digest, that he assumed that we are sitting around and chatting, which wasn't the case. We were walking and chatting. But anyway, he said that I was telling him, it's taking so long. So he said, first of all, walk. I said, okay, I'm walking. Then he said, okay, reduce that amount of walking. Then he said, drink water. And thirdly, reduce your chatting. go home and talk on the phone. So I was like, this makes no sense, and I continued that. And then kind of later on, I realized, you know what, he said that there must be a reason for it, because I've tried everything in my capacity and it's not working out, in the sense like I'm not digesting less than 12-14 hours. So actually longer, I was taking 15-16 hours easily. So let's follow his advice and give my mouth a little bit of rest, and I reduced that, and then I saw things taking off from the fifth day onwards. So maybe that helped. But I've read this across, like after coming back home, I was reading in forums. They also said that you should be speaking loudly and spending a lot of time on the tablet, so that ties in and it makes sense. So that does make sense, because everything talking is also an expenditure of energy. So yeah, and also talking on the phone with your family back at home, I mean, the idea is to rest, complete rest, which ties in with my last point, which is intention and focus. Just because you're there and you have time doesn't mean, or you're walking, doesn't mean that you can use it to talk about some argument that you had with your family member, or politics, or something that makes you feel riled up, or watch horror movies. I did that, and I really, I got a scolding, and I deserved it, because who does that in a hospital? I really, really regret it. I did that on the last day, and I went and told the nurse that sister, I'm not being able to, I'm feeling scared in my cabin because I watched this horror movie. And she was like, serves you right. So yeah, and I was like, yeah, I realized this mistake, and I please, what can I do? So anyway, the idea is to focus on the treatment and not focus on anything outside of the hospital. And there's a reason, I guess, for this treatment, apart from the complicated procedure and the complications that can arise out of this very intense procedure. I'm sure there's a reason why we are admitted to the hospital. Otherwise, technically, we can have ghee at home and call up the doctors and report and all those things. But no, there are complications. So never try this at home. And that's what the doctors told me once. And there is also one added benefit which I feel, I felt this last time as well as this time. It took me a few more time to get to that realization again this time, because I was very much focused on chatting and having fun. That derailed me from the focus. Was basically, the idea is to focus on why you're here, why you're doing the treatment, whether it's in a hospital or a clinic or in a retreat. Like when you get up in the morning to have the ghee, whenever you have it, focus on digesting it, focus on the fact that it's going to heal you and things like that. I mean, that's what I started doing from day 5, and things started shifting. I really forgot about all the other problems in my life, and I focused on just the treatment, and that's when things started shifting. So that you should leave the outside world outside. And that's one of the reasons why I feel that this is also done in a hospital, and it helped me greatly, because I don't think I would have this treatment is not something that should be done by yourself at all. It's very tough on the body and the mind, of course. I think mostly on the mind. So I would say you have to be 100% focused on your mind and focus all your energy towards healing your body, healing whatever condition that you've gone for. What is it, the other thing, so what I was doing in the first few days, I was thinking about problems outside of the hospital. I had problems, whatever issues, challenges I was facing, I was thinking about that, and I was journaling about them over there, which had nothing to do with my treatment. I mean, yes, in a way everything affects you, but I should have focused on the treatment from day 1. I took it for granted because I was like, I've done this before. But then I realized, no, apparently, things can't be taken for granted. And my body really showed me that, until I decided to, from day 5, day 5, I started journaling and writing my intentions and saying affirmations about digesting the ghee. It was that bad. My not digesting was so bad that I had to start saying affirmations about all that. And I shifted from saying affirmations about my other things to just this, so specific about I should digest the ghee, I should be healing and cleaning and purging whatever I've come here for. So I think that's very important. It might sound funny, but I think that's the most important thing. You can go there and get the treatment done and then come back and not have that great results. I've seen that with people. I have seen that with those other people who were undergoing the treatment last time. Some of them have not gone back because they did not get that good results. My mom also, by the way, I don't like to divulge other people's personal details. She also undertook the treatment for a condition that she has. And so obviously I'm not in a place to comment because it's too early what are the results, and I'm pretty sure she'll get good results, but different people get different results. And I believe a lot has to do with how focused you are. You can't just go there and treat it like you're on a vacation, you know. So yeah, these are the 5 things. I hope they helped you if you are undergoing the treatment, or if you're planning to do a Panchakarma treatment, or you're curious about it. So these are the 5 things I wish I had known, and I definitely have benefited from this experience, and all these 5 points will definitely help me going forward, not in just my treatment, but also in other facets of life. The thing about this intention and focus, I think, is something I'm going to keep in mind, and obviously of not stressing and overdoing any good thing. Also, overdone is not a good thing anymore. Just like walking more than a certain amount of kilometers was not really working for me, and was proved to be a problem for me rather than aiding me. So yeah, a lot of lessons here. Hope this helped, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.